violates natural laws. That's all we were looking at here. You can't have everything from nothing. Millions of years, gradual change, or was it thousands of years? Well, how old is the Earth and the universe? The evolutionist timeline was back when I started 20 billion years, Big Bang, but now they're saying just 13 plus billion. So it's changing, getting shorter, but creationists don't give them enough time at all, 6,000 years. And then 4,400 years of flood, and then 2,000 years ago, Jesus, and then he's coming again to restore everything to its original, very good condition that we who believe in him will enjoy. So how old is the Earth? How do we know how old it is? Well, the early scientists and Bible scholars came up with this from the dates of all the sons, starting with Adam, and how old Adam was when he had Seth, and then how old Seth was when he had Enosh, all the way down to the flood is right here, and then all the way down to Abraham, the father of our faiths. And this is very key. Here's how it goes. You add up each of those dates, and you can do this in a class project, I suppose. But what you get is from Adam to Jesus is 4,000 years. From Jesus to the present is 2,000 years. So how old is the Earth? 6,000 years. According to that, how old is the universe with those billions of galaxies constantly expanding away from? Well, according to the Bible, 6,000 years minus 3 days. The universe is younger than the Earth, according to the Bible. I mean, God created the heavens and the earth originally, but he created the sun, moon, and stars on day 4. Do you remember that when I showed the chart? Yeah. So according to the Bible, God did this. I believe God did everything in the days of creation. You go back through it to prove that evolution cannot be true, according to him. He wants us to know that today. That's one of the reasons, but he also wanted us to see that it's very logical development, preparing the world for man 6,000 years ago. So how do evolutionists get their timeline? Well, these are two very different interpretations of these rock layers there. The evolutionist looks at it uniformitarily, that everything happened the same as it's happening today. So this is the deepest canyon in the world. It's 4 kilometers deep, Grand Canyon in my country. There's other canyons in China almost this deep. This river down here did not carve out the river, did not carve out the canyon, because there's no sediment out at the ocean, very little. All of the sediment is piled up in a heap, as if there were a terrible catastrophe just before Los Angeles, which is our big city now, it stopped. But Los Angeles wasn't there yet, but God was preparing a way for Los Angeles by turning it around. Okay, so that's, the evolutionist says sediment layers form slowly over a long period of time, and the millions of layers represent millions of years. Whereas the creationist says, no, we believe in catastrophism. This was a big catastrophe, and we see it from the evidence of the river. The sediment layers formed quickly during a worldwide flood, and Bible genealogies date the flood 4,400 years ago. So there's no time for evolution to take place where all of these things were buried, but they date as millions of years from the rock layers. And recent catastrophes produce similar layering to this in ours, and one of those examples is this. Where's this place, do you know? It's just up north in Luzon. It's the Mount Pinatubo Bar Canyon. And it looks, in some places right here, it looks very much like the Grand Canyon, just hundreds of rock layers rather than thousands. And these were still, they were forming into rock, and today they are rock layers under the Lahar, and so that's how it happens. The key issue is the Great Flood of Noah's day. The tectonic plates moving all around the world is described in Genesis 6. If you read Genesis 6 to 9, it's one of the most scientifically sounding presentations in the Bible by God himself, or maybe Noah wrote it down, but describing how the tectonic plates must have moved, and how the things were buried and formed. The worldwide flood of Noah's day could have laid down most of the Earth's fossil-bearing rock layers in a very short time. By these waters, Peter says, also the world at that time was deluged and destroyed. So why do evolutionists reject the worldwide flood? Because evolution requires millions of years of uniformity. And Noah's flood was only 4,400 years ago. So they're thinking, we don't want to believe that. We don't want to be under criticism, under judgment. Evolution requires millions of years of slow, gradual change. So it's a myth theory. Do not allow this to confuse us. So there are things that they cannot explain. When I was a child, I went to see this kind of tree, fossil tree trunk spanning several layers of strata, which supposedly represent millions of years. But what they said in their descriptions was this is a petrified forest of trees that grew millions of years ago. But the problem is, look, it spans millions of years, according to evolution theory. The rock layers are each millions of years apart. Evolutionists have no explanation for petrified forests extending through these deep layers. Here's one this is in France. You can see those trees growing up through the rock layers millions of years. And one right there at the surface coming up. And then seashells are the biggest problem. And we mentioned up on Jack's Ridge, you can see the similar seashells that are on top of Mount Everest and on top of every single mountain on Earth, even the South Pole. There are seashells on tops of the mountains. There are dinosaurs buried in uplifted hills there in Antarctica. The same kinds of dinosaurs that are found all over the rest of the world. So it was a worldwide catastrophe. Here's Australia, or New Zealand, with the same seashells, almost that big, up at Jack's Ridge. You'll be amazed if you go out there and see it. But how do evolutionists explain that? Well, I have a cute explanation. When I was at Silliman, we presented these pictures, and I wasn't a Christian yet, my wife and I, and some of the teachers were. One of the teachers was an agnostic, and I asked her, because I was thinking maybe these were put there by the flood. That's what I was thinking. And she answered, and she said, oh, well, obviously, some big birds carried them up to the top of Palawan. And everyone laughed in my class. And I said, well, that's not so funny, because maybe there were really big birds back then. But one of the teachers suggested maybe it was the flood of the Bible, which would explain seashells on every continent. Creationists and evolutionists have the same fossils. And here's a definition from the Institute for Creation Research. A fossil is the remains or trace of a once living thing, preserved by natural processes, most commonly by rapid deep burial in water-laid sediments. Minerals dissolved in the water replace decaying soft tissue to form a rock replica of the original creature. So, when they dig up fossils and you see them in a museum, I was in China last year, and there are dragon museums, or sometimes they call it a dinosaur museum. But they discovered these different kinds of dragon skeletons that they can identify from their history. And then they have these huge, any museum has these huge dinosaurs, and did I see any in the Philippines yet? Not because there weren't dinosaurs in the Philippines. This was an island, always has been an island. But I'll see if I think I have the explanation as we go. Do fossils take millions of years? Here's a fossilized hat found in New Zealand, and that's millions of years old. The fossilization process is the same today. A miner was in a cave and then he escaped, but his hat got buried in the mud and then it turned to rock by the time they dug it up. So leather can turn into rock by fossilization. And also, blood evidence for rapid burial. We have a ichthyosaur marine fossil having her baby. You see the baby there? Looked like a fin, but it's a baby. And there's many pictures like this of different animals having birth and or eating their last supper. It sounds religious, but wow, he was ready to meet his maker, obviously. And here's the normal death process. Something dies, it decays, and then it disintegrates completely. There's no fossilization. That's what happens. That's probably what happened to the millions of people that lived at the time of Noah's Ark. They were trying to escape, going up the hills, trying to escape the tsunamis, and had no escape. They did not live probably around the jungles because that's where the scary dinosaurs were that we find. And so, here's the case of catastrophism though. The creature is buried and becomes a fossil. Now, there's wonderful evidence coming out now. Scientists are openly admitting that there is soft tissue inside most dinosaur bones. And I was in a museum 2 weeks ago in America where I had a private tour, and the young college graduate who led me, she told me right away that she was agnostic, she isn't religious, she understands creation science. So she said, she showed me the bones, and she said, inside this dinosaur bone, there could have been fresh tissue when it was frozen. And we dig up these bones, they're deep frozen. And so, actually, this one in 1997, or this one was the year 2005, it looks like Kentucky Fried Dinosaur, doesn't it? And in fact, well, it wasn't cooked, but it was quick frozen, and when they opened it up, why, Bob, it was not disgusting at all. It was fresh meat when it thawed out. And they were shocked. Fresh meat after 65 million years. Imagine. And so the scientists have been trying to figure that out. This Mary Schweitzer, ever since, trying to figure out how fresh meat can last 65 million years. And she's had some theories, and she's published, but it doesn't make much sense. What she said in a TV interview at the time, and she smiled when she was asked on CNN, she said, well, the maximum preservation we know under ideal deep freeze conditions would not exceed 10,000 years. And at that time, she hadn't decided to go on to try to find out why. But she's spending her entire career now finding new dinosaur specimens with blood vessels and meat and trying to find out how it can be 65 million years. And I don't think she's going to find out the answer. It's just pain, like Darwin says. It was buried 4,400 years ago, and then they know that's reasonable, but surprising. Mummified dinosaur found in Montana. Its fossilized skeleton is covered with soft skin, with even the skin color there, you can see. It had scales, muscle pads, foot pads, and even its last meal and its supper, a salad of ferns, conifers, and even magnolia ice cream for dessert. So, these things didn't live too long ago. The problem is mummified tissue, they'll tell you this up in Vignette and Mount Province, it won't last for even, well, it might last for hundreds of years, but they're very protective of their mummified ancestors because they're very crumbly. And these dinosaurs, like this one, are... Oh, and by the way, I just want to say one more thing about dinosaur discoveries. In the past, dinosaurs were discovered with skin tissue, and the scientists just dismissed it. They just threw that away. They didn't think of what it now they're realizing not skin, it's like leather, but it's scales. And it's carbon datable. We're going to look at carbon dating, which means it's only thousands of years old. So here's a carbon dating only dates things in thousands of years old. And so it has to be non-fossilized, once-living specimens. This is not radiometric dating, which was billions of years old. Radiometric dating is much more complex and has many more errors. It produces dates in millions of years, but only on volcanic rock. So it can't date a fossil. Cannot date a fossil because a fossil is rock. It cannot date the fossil layers that it's in because that's sedimentary rock. So it's worthless for dating living things that have lived in the past. It requires knowing when the volcano erupted because they can only date the volcanic eruption that is registered somewhere else above or beyond, below the dinosaurs, for example. So it's not possible to know when it erupted. The results in the same sample will vary by millions of years, sometimes billions of years variation. So they just pick the one that fits their theory from what I showed before. They dated from the number of rock layers. Even recent lava flows also measure in billions of years. Like scientists, the evolution scientists would not give us the dinosaur meat at first to carbon date it, but we were able to get samples of lava from radiometric labs. And here's what we found out. From volcanoes we knew, Kilauea Iki, we knew exactly when it erupted. The igneous rock formed in 1959. So, the material sent to the lab measured at 8.5 million years. They agreed to measure it without knowing where it came from. So, what they did was they came up with 8.5 million years. They were surprised that it was so young, but that's, Hawaii is not very old. And it should be dated less than 50 years old, so not 8.5, so they missed by millions of years. Mount Strombo, Italy, it erupted in 1963, but the rocks were dated in the lab 2,400,000 years. So it should have been 50 years old only, and it was missed by 2.399 million years. So we can say precisely how long they were. And so things to consider about radiometric dating. The samples that are of known age, always radiometric dating doesn't work. It is completely wrong. So samples of unknown age, evolution scientists assume that it works, and they are absolutely adamant that it probably works. But they do have a doubt because they know there's a big gap of dates. So we'll go to, we'll finish up in about 15 minutes, so then we'll have questions. Transitional forms, according to Darwin, would be unlimited in variation, whereas missing links, according to the Bible, are kinds created separately and missing. This was an article, 1997, I believe. This was 1999, the year that I started my presentations, I remember. Time magazine mentioned evolution's Big Bang. And in this magazine, it used our kinds of language. There's bursts of creativity. What this is showing is the thing that Darwin was most disturbed about was the Precambrian layers at the bottom of the evolution pile of dead things. The Precambrian is called the Great Nonconformity. Underneath the Cambrian, there's no fossils, an occasional bacteria found down in there, but no fossil animals at all